All right, so we're going to commence our session now. I just want to welcome us all, our presenters online, and all our youths who have joined into this career exploration session. So today we want to look at exploring careers, choosing your career field, and also career development for those persons who may be assured of their career options already. So if you have any questions throughout the seminar, you're free to ask, make your comments, your input as we discover our different careers in this challenging time. But we have to also be reminded to keep our mics mute through the session unless you're asking a question or you are making a comment on something pertaining to the session. So once again, welcome to this seminar. I'm going to now be doing a brief devotion just with prayer, and I will read a thought as we go into this session. Let us pray. Father, we just want to give you thanks for today. We want to give you thanks for your love. We want to give you thanks, God, that you have brought us through another day up to this point in this day, God. And as we prepare ourselves for the seminar, we just pray that your presence will be with us. We just pray, God, that you give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. We ask that you be with us, oh God, and that you give us strength. We just pray, God, that as we learn, that as we apply our different skills, that as we discover and explore these different career options, you help, oh Lord God, these young people to make a wise decision, God. You direct them, you will lead them. What a spirit to be the presenter even now, in Jesus' name, amen. So just a short thought that I want to leave with us. And that thought will be coming from our last devotional. So in 1 Corinthians 10, verse 13, no temptation has overtaken you, but such as is common to man. And God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you're able. But with the temptation, will provide a way of escape also, so that you'll be able to endure it. So the commentator says, we must make every effort to be careful in the choices we make, the friends, company we keep, and the places we go, since these are areas that can present us with temptation to which we could succumb. An episode in King David's life clearly shows how easily what appears to be a harmless decision can lead to temptation and eventually culminate in sin. David made a decision. This led to temptation, culminated in sinful action. 2 Samuel 11 records the story. It tells us that one day, instead of going out to battle with his army as he should have, he decided to stay home. That was a wrong decision. While at home, walking on the roof of his house, wrong place, he saw a beautiful woman bathing. This presented a temptation which he did not resist. He eventually coveted, had an inordinate desire for another man's wife. Again, another wrong choice. This led him to further sin as he committed adultery, had sex with her, and arranged to murder her husband when she got pregnant. So we are to make every effort not to yield to temptation, but instead submit ourselves to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. So from that, the main thing that is encouraging us to whatever decision we make, let us include God's guidance. Let us make the right decision, the right choice in everything that we do. So for today's career exploration seminar, we have Miss Anne Ebanks from the Art Trust NTA in Morantby, St. Thomas. And today she'll be presenting to us on career development, discovering your career choice, and careers in general. So as she come to us with her presentation, if you have any questions, as I said earlier, you can ask and participate in today's discussion, because this is for your benefit and for you to help you to discover what choice that will not just affect you now, but will also affect you in the future to come. So what you choose now, what you decide to be is very important. So at this time, I'll hand over to Ms. Ibax.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Phillips, for the invitation to come and share with the young people. I don't think I'll be able to show, I can show my face briefly because what I'm using is a hotspot on my phone. So what happens is that it's going to affect the video quality and everything going forward in terms of the bandwidth. So I can show my face briefly, whether it is now or at the end. Let me show it now. Very briefly. You see my face? Anywhere? All right, there we go. So, as said, I'm Ann Ibanks, Career Development Officer, employed to Heart and Estate Trust. Today, we are going to be looking on not so much career in and of itself, but I want to look at career planning. Because career development, yes, it's a lifelong process of managing, learning, managing both the work, the learning, the leisure transition in order to move towards a personally determined and evolving preferred future. So that is broad, it's a lifelong process. Why I want to zoom in on career planning is because many of us are at a stage where we are not sure what is it that we want. And career planning will cover that part. So let me remove back the video. Rasheen, Mr. Phillips, is it possible for you to, can I share screen?
Yes, you are able to share screen.
All right. So here, and you can see it, right? Can you see the screen, right?
Right, we see the screen.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. So career planning is basically a structured exercise undertaken to identify one's objectives, marketable skills, strengths, and weaknesses as part of one's career management. Career planning is an ongoing process that can help you manage your learning and development. Based on what Mr. Phillips said, most of you or the target group currently would have been young persons, whether it is still in high school or recently left high school. So I figured that career planning may be more suited as a topic versus the broad career development and career choices. When choosing a career, the number one rule is to choose a career that is something that you as an individual really like to do. Rule number two, do your research and choose carefully and thoughtfully. And rule number three, make it meaningful for you. So at the end of the day, everything goes back to you, the individual, in terms of your role in choosing the career. Things that you like to do, something that is meaningful to you, and you need to do your research and choose carefully and thoughtfully. So you owe it to yourself to look for work that is meaningful and rewarding. You see, when you're doing something that is both meaningful and rewarding, it won't be as stressful or as taxing on the body for you to get up every day and go to work if it's something that is meaningful and you can get the reward from it. So there are 4 steps to career planning. And the first place it starts, even though it is a process, the first place it really and truly starts is to knowing yourself. Exploring your options, making decisions, moving on. And the cycle continues because as time progresses, you'll need to do, again, periodic self-assessment or periodic self-assessment or self-evaluation to, again, know yourself, because over time we change, our interests change, our values don't change so much, but our interests or preferences, different goals that you may want for ourselves, these change over time. So you have to first understand and know yourself before you can go ahead to move on to the next step of exploring your options. So in terms of knowing yourself, you need to think about your interests, your values, your skills, and your preferences. What is it that you like to do and enjoy doing? Value speaks to what is it that is important to you. Is what is important to you family? Is it money? Is it freedom? Is it leisure? Whatever it is that is important to you becomes a values. And values are things that you don't readily deviate from. It's just like persons who have Christian principles, strong Christian principles. Chances are you'll never find any of you working in a supreme venture company because it speaks to gambling. So it doesn't matter if that is the only place that has a position, a vacancy available, chances are you will not choose to go there because of your own values. So skills, what can you do? What are you good at? And again, what are your preferences? It's good for you to do some self-assessment. There are many self-assessments out there. You have one that look at your interest, which is the John Hollands theory of career choices, where he believes that as individuals, if we choose a career that is in keeping with our interests, then we should be happy and comfortable doing what is it that we are doing. You have the Myers-Briggs type indicator. There are free versions online that you can search for. You have the strong interest inventory. You have values interest inventory, whatever it is that you want. But the idea is, or the most important thing is that you really and truly do the self-assessment, because this is going to form the foundation of your own success and growth going forward. If you don't do this, you may very well choose a career or choose to go to university where you spend the first year and realize that this is not for you, or you go to second year and you say that this is not for you. So the ideal is to know, to understand yourself first. For those of you who are in 9th grade, you can still do some form of self-assessment. Still do the self-assessment. Because in the 9th grade is when you look at choosing your CXCs. But don't just look at choosing subjects in isolation. You want to think about, again, what is it that you want in the long run? So you're exploring your interests. As I said, this is the John Hollands hexagonal model of career fields. And these are the 6 areas that he believes as individuals we predominantly fall in 3 of them. So whether it is realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, or conventional. I think Mr. Phillips is going to give you guys an activity to complete. So you'll get a chance to complete an interest inventory before the end of the day's activity. So I won't go into details for this one. And the question is, where do you fall on that? So once you have done your interest inventories and you understand yourself a little better, you need to choose the options that match your values. So knowing what you value most will help you to refine your career search and choices. If you are someone who enjoys helping others, what you find is that you may end up in whether it is in a healthcare setting, as a teacher, as a counselor, whatever helping profession that you may have is going to come up. So what is your value? Are you somebody who like the prestige and the status, where it doesn't matter what you do? You just want to know that, for example, you work at the Bank of Nova Scotia or the University of the West Indies because of the prestige that comes with working at that establishment. So it goes back to your own personal values. Do you value money? So you want a job that has a high income. You want the flexible hours where you can work, whether it is from 8 p.m. to probably 2 in the next morning, or is it that you want a job where it's flexible hours, so you come in at some point in the day and you leave and you go somewhere? It depends on what is it that you value. But whatever it is, you need to establish and align the values, your career choice, and the career goals for motivation. As you can see in red at the bottom, it says there is no substitute for knowing yourself. Everything starts with you. You have to know yourself. You have to know your own desires, and it's not only limited to career options. You need to know yourself as well in terms of whatever decisions you're going to make. How is it going to impact you? So you need to understand yourself and know what is it that you stand for. So once you've done the self-assessment, then the next step is to finding out or you're exploring your options. So based on the outcomes of your different self-assessment, and once you've discovered who it is that you are, then you need to explore the career options or the learning areas that interest you. Where do I go from here? Know that I understand myself a little better. So for those who are looking to, yes? Someone is asking a question? I can't see a raise hand or anything because I'm in PowerPoint mode.
There is no question. You can go ahead.
All right. So depending on where you are, some questions that you want to ask. What jobs would be right for me right now? So chances are we have some persons who are tuning in and they're asking themselves because they have been out of school and they're wondering what jobs would be right for me. So you have to ask yourself, what can I do? What do I want to do? Because if you don't know what you want and you don't know what you can do, then basically any road can take you to where you want to go because you're not focused on what is it that you want. But when you're clear about what is it that you can do and what is right for me, then you can then go ahead and make the next step in terms of choosing a career, or if it's a situation where you're applying for a job. The other one is asking, what are the education requirements and the salary? Based on where you are, based on the career that you are going to explore, what is it that is required of me? Is it that I need to have the science subjects? Is it that I need to have the arts? Is it that I need to have a mix? Is it that I need to have business? What is it that I need in order to get to where I want to go? What is the educational requirements? Based again on the job itself, do I have the educational requirements? What is the salary like? Is it something that I want to do? And again, your values is going to play a major role because I know that some persons will choose to, for example, become a lawyer because of the money that is supposedly associated with it. But you need to do your interviews and do your research to find out as well. I may say that I want to do this job because of the money, but what is the labor market like? Is there a surplus? Or is it that is it still as booming as before where, okay, I can go in, I can get a case and this is the amount of money that I'm going to earn. So you need to not only think of it in terms of what is it that you want to do, you also need to think in terms of the labor market trends, what jobs are booming, what vacancies are there, what is it going to be like in 5 years from now, and then you decide accordingly. Don't just jump into something because your friend is doing it or because it sounds good or it looks good. Do your research first. Next, the other question, it says, what steps do I take to get the job I want? So for those persons who are not working currently or who is looking to leave high school, what steps do I take to get the job that I want? Where am I now? What do I need to do? Which one of those ladders do I need to take? What is my next step? And we're going to look at doing an action plan somewhere later down in this session. So factors to consider. So you need to explore a number of careers and majors. So you can go, excuse me, 1 second. Sorry about that. So you need to explore a number of careers and the majors. Don't just limit it to one. When you do your self-assessment, for example, if you were supposed to do an online one, or even when Mr. Phillips is going to give the assessment, or when we have completed the assessment, you'll see that several careers may come up. But don't limit it to one. Because when you go ahead and you get involved, whether it is through volunteerism, whether it is through community service, when you get involved and you try to learn more about the position itself, you may realize that, the one here enough for me, so I can probably try the next one. Get advice from people in your targeted occupation. In terms of getting advice, I don't want you to just get it from one person. Try to get it from at least 3 or 4 persons, so that way you will get enough. That way you will get a fairly good understanding of what the work environment is really, really like. Because you may ask someone, and because the person loves the position so much or love the profession that is their calling, they make it out to be so nice and smooth and there are no obstacles, it's just good all the time. Whereas you may have somebody who they are in it, but it wasn't their passion, it wasn't something that they wanted to do. So they feel stuck. And in asking them, they tell you all the negative things about the profession itself. But when you ask other persons, you'll be able to get a balance. You want to ask, what are the working hours like? What is the work environment like? Who are the kind of people that you come in contact with? What are some of the issues that you face? Are there any opportunities for advancement if I should go into this profession? Questions like those you want to ask. Is this a job that is going to take me away from my family? For example, you may have somebody who wants to become a pilot. Pilot is good. Pilot make a whole heap of money. But at the end of the day, what you find is that becoming a pilot, while you have its perks where you can travel from one country to the next and stay over, it takes you away from your family. So again, your values is going to come into play in terms of the career that you choose. The next point says you are to follow your passion. Dare to try something new. There are some persons who may want to go to go to one of the hard institutions to go study a skill or to go learn a skill. Oftentimes when I ask someone, what skill would you want to do? Them say, Miss, I'm going to do the electrical. Why do you want to do electrical? Because that's what we usually do in a school. So wouldn't you want to try something else? And they're at a loss in terms of what is it that they can do. So sometimes, should you decide that you want to come to Heart NSTA Trust to learn a skill, you can choose anyone you want to do. Even if you did electrical in school, you can still come and do air conditioning or refrigeration, for example, telecommunications, if that is what you want to do. Because we teach you the basics to get you to the level that you need to be upon completion. So don't think that you have to choose a skill or choose an educational pathway because of something that you learned in school. Things and times are changing. Right now you have persons who were in there, who were working, for example, in the banks. And what happened? Their positions are being made redundant. So they have to unlearn what is it that they knew before and then try something new in order to move on with their lives and cater to their family and the different demands of life. So in terms of factors to consider, don't just choose subjects or careers. Don't select careers just because your friends are doing them. Don't let someone else choose for you. And don't assume that you have it all figured out. As old as I am and as experienced as I am, believe me, I don't have it all figured out where careers are concerned. Because I too, my interests change over time. Even though I have been working in this position for a number of years, since probably about 2009, I've been with Heart NSTA Trust. I have switched positions like about 3 times already. But I still go back to being a career development officer because this is what I like to do. I enjoy doing this. But at some point in time, I get bored and I want to take on a challenge and I want to learn something new. But never you assume that you have it all figured out as a young person, because even as adults, we don't have it figured out. So you have to assess yourself and continually assess and look at your options and explore them before you come to a decision. So you need to become knowledgeable about careers. Even though this is an overseas-based website in terms of occupational outlook handbook, it still gives you the description itself of the job description, the salary range, what is the working environment like for different careers. So you can still look at it as reference. Because really and truly, I don't think we have anything in Jamaica that is as clear. So research several careers, not just one, because you need to have a backup plan. Browse the career sections of your local newspaper. So every Sunday, they have the career section of the Sunday Gleaner. Look at it to see what careers are out there. What are the trends like? And you look at the competencies that are required. What are the skills and competencies that are required? What's the qualifications that you're looking for? And if this is something that you want to do, then that basically helps you to zoom in on what are the areas that you need to develop on if you are to really and truly enter a position or a field such as that. See a career counselor, scope out internet resources, network. Many people love to talk about their jobs. So still talk to those persons, and networking is always a good thing. The thing though is that when you're networking, please don't tell people too much about your character flaws. For example, yo, always I go work late, you know, why that them people that take my final? Or you talk about your job itself, or you talk about the fact that you are late, the fact that, yo, me can't bother you, man, me have some deadlines to meet, you know, that go on easy. Believe me. You see, depending on who it is that you associate with, as much as how you and I are friends, there are some positions that I would not recommend you for. So if, for example, if there's a vacancy in my office and I know you have the qualifications to do it, and I know chances are you have the experience, depending on your attitude and your performance and stuff, I may not recommend you for the position. Why? Because if I recommend you based on my personal work ethics and work attitude, they are going to be of the impression that whoever I'm getting must be somebody who is kind of similar to me. Now, can you imagine if I get somebody who, when they come in, they don't report to work on time? Them get them things to do and people have to be in them skin in order to meet the deadlines to get the job done. Then what is it that they're going to say? Yo, which idiot is unrecommended to the sub position, man? A pure idiot, me can't bother. And at the end of the day, it's going to look bad on me. So when you network, be careful what is it that you say to the persons. But most importantly, as an individual, you have a responsibility to develop your own employability skills, because the employability skills are the skills that are going to help you to get a job, keep a job, and progress in a job. So you have to work on that. And for the most part, any research will tell you that these are some skill sets that young people are lacking. So you need to work on it, do your research. A lot of information is available online that speaks to employability skills and how you can develop each. So what to look for in a career? So preferred type of work, what are the income requirements? Are there any special needs? What's the stress level like? The level of interaction with people. There are some persons who are not, they're introverts, so they're really and truly not cut out to deal with. So for example, if some persons, no matter how much customer service training you give them, they will never have a customer service attitude in terms of being suited to work at the front desk of an establishment. So know your preference in terms of preferring to work alone behind a computer screen or to interface with people. If you're someone who likes to interface with people, then chances are a job that is going to have you seated at a desk, working in isolation, you're going to be grumpy and frustrated because you lack the social interaction with people. What is the amount of independence that this offers me? So those are some things that you want to ask. So you can take a screenshot of it and for future reference. What are the benefits and perks of entering that position or entering that organization? Advancement opportunities, is there room for growth? What's the industrial outlook? So again, that speaks to the labor market trends. What is the reputation of the firm or the industry? My preference is in the funeral industry because my parents own the funeral. All right. Any questions so far? No? So where to go for help? Whether it is career centers, for those of you who are in high school, you have access to your guidance counselors. You can also stop by one of the heart offices to speak to a career counselor. You can speak to staff members, depending on where you are and the level that you're at. You can speak to staff members. You can speak to the upper class students, different student organizations. Placement services is usually available in universities or colleges. So those are some places that you can go to get help. All right. So the career or guidance counselor at your school, even Mr. Phillips, they are trained professionals who can help you to discover your strengths and weaknesses, evaluate your values and goals, and to sort through what type of career you want. So that, again, they act as a guide. They will not tell you what to do. They will simply help identify what factors may lead to success and interesting career options. So they won't tell you what to do. They'll present you with options, because at the end of the day, the decision in terms of what you do is solely yours. So step 3, which is the decision making. So we went through step 1, which is the knowing yourself. Step 2, exploring your options. And we're now at step 3, which is making decisions. This involves comparing your options, narrowing down your choices, and thinking about what suits you best at this time. When making career decisions or decisions, certain decisions in life, you don't make the decisions blindly. You need to always explore your options by doing some concrete research and thinking. You write down the pros and the cons of the different fields, of the different areas before you make a decision. So as you can see, the person right here, you have some persons who really and truly choose a career and they choose it blindly. So this person is basically looking at pinning the tail on a career. And I don't think you want to do that, because believe me, it's a recipe for disaster. So in terms of career, what is the lifestyle that you want to live later on? Decisions can't be made in isolation. So you have to take into consideration the education. What are the requirements to get there? What is the work? What does it involve? The family and the leisure time, does it allow for that? So here are some factors that affect career choices, and I have said this more than one time through, well, I've said this several times throughout the session. Factors affecting career choices, again, your interest, your skills, your aptitude. Aptitude looks at the ability to do something. Do you have the people skills? Look at the experience, family tradition. So someone posted in the chat that they would want to work at a, oh God, their family has a, my preference is in the funeral industry because my parents own a funeral home, right? So this person, it seems like they want to continue the family tradition. And that is fine because you have some persons who make their decision based on genetics, family, or the environment in which they grow up, and that is fine. But make sure you really and truly are the one who want to enter the funeral industry and not a situation where your parent or parents is pushing for you to enter that field. My screen not moving. So your personality again plays a role, and the life goals and work values. So assess your skills. Realize that everything, no matter what, it goes right back. Self-assessment is tied in there somewhere. So you assess your skills in terms of your academic strengths. You're reading, you're writing, you're speaking, and you're listening. Math, creative thinking, problem solving and decision making. You look at your personal qualities in terms of your self-esteem, your self-management, the level of responsibility. People skills. Are you somebody who is social? Do you possess a negotiation skill, the leadership and the teamwork skills? Those are things that play a role as well in terms of your career options, the way forward in terms of the decision that you make. It can't be that you say you want to become a marketer or you want to become a, it's not journalist. So for example, a television announcer. And at the end of the day, your speaking skills are poor. You want to become an actuarial science and you don't like mathematics. So it depends. All of these things play a role, so you need to assess your skills. Again, select several careers, just not one. The second point is very important. It says approximately 60% of students change their major at some point during their college career. So the reason I keep emphasizing this part, people, most of you, as I'm aware of, are young persons who are either looking to go to university, who are still in school, or who are job hunting. Ultimately, the ideal is for everybody to aspire to go to a tertiary institution. Because these days, for the most part, having a degree is an entry requirement to almost every single profession that exists. So if you want to achieve, condition your mind that you may very well need to go to university. It may not be now because you may not have the requirements to get there. However, you can always get there if you want it. I'm not saying that everybody must go to university or having a degree is what is going to put you ahead in terms of the finances that you want, because we have many skilled professions who are earning far more than persons who have a degree. But just know what is it that you want, what is it that you value, what is it that is important to you, what is it that you enjoy doing. It pays to be knowledgeable about more than one career field, because the average graduate changes their job 7 times in their lifetime. Back in the day when I was younger, I would have known teachers who started in primary school and they were there until retirement. That doesn't work right now. So most of us will change our careers at least 7 times in our lifetime, and that is a norm. So you have to keep, again, assessing yourself, knowing where you are. What is it that I like right now before you're able to make the change? It also pays to develop a wide variety of general skills, particularly those related to communication. So again, it goes back to the employability skills, the transferable skills. Whether it is communication, technology, because we know that Technology changes every day. It's the fastest growing field. Anybody who wants to go into the IT industry, you are in for it, where every day you have to learn something new because the changes are so fast and furious that it's difficult for you to keep up. You can go to university and get your degree, and by the time you come out with a degree, everything has changed. So you need to keep abreast of technology. Those are some things that you need to take care of in order to keep your options open. So career planning. Again, this is a personal activity. You can be taught the approach. Anybody can teach you the approach. I can teach you the approach. However, again, you have to decide for yourself. The career counselor can only guide, direct, and advise you. You again make the final decision. And once you've made a decision, then it's time to take action. You must decide for yourself. So you have to take action, and this is the final step in the career planning process. Here you plan the steps you need to take to put your plan into action in order to achieve your own personal goal. An action plan basically breaks up the process into actionable assignments based on a timeline. So if you have the long-term goal, basically you're going to break it up. So for those persons who said that they want to, for example, go to university to study business administration, then you will have to break it into attainable goals. Depends on where you are right now. It could be a situation where, for example, if you want to attend university by August 2021, which is this year, for those of you who are still in high school in 5th form or 6th form, then the first thing that you need to do in terms of your action plan is to make sure that you attend all classes, complete all assignments, the different tests, the different exams, the different SBA. If you do all of those, then chances are you'll be well on your way in terms of getting the required passes or the entry requirements to enter university. If it's a situation where, again, based on you knowing yourself and based on the fact that you've decided that this is a career that I want, some subject areas may be a struggle. So once you're able to identify which subject area you have a weakness in, and that is a major requirement to get into university, then you will want to ask yourself, who can I get help from? And that again comes into your action plan. So do I need extra classes? Who is going to assist me? Whether it is finances to go to university, where am I going to get the finances from? I also need to bear in mind that, for example, if you take UE, CMU, UCC, whichever one of those institutions offers the same degree program that you want to do, then I would suggest that you apply for more than one. Don't limit your options to one because you may not get into that program. And you look at the finances that are available. So again, based on your own situation and your action plan, you want to go to university by August 2021. Do I have the resources in terms of the money? If I don't have the money, where can I get the money? Is it that I'm going to take student loan? Is it that I'm going to get a bank loan? Is it that I'm going to ask a relative? But if you know you got to the route of getting a loan, you're going to have to, again, put this in your action plan. Who can I ask to be guarantors for me? Because when you go to student loan or whichever other lending entity, agency, they're going to ask you for guarantors. So fine, you have done all of that and coming closer now to university time, to August 2021. Your action plan is an ongoing thing too, bear that in mind. Because when you get past each stage, you still need to figure out the next step thereafter. So now that I have had the entry requirements, now that I've applied to university, and you're pending, your acceptance is pending, you also want to take into consideration. So the finances, you already thought about that part. Do I have the clothes? What about the transportation cost? If I live in Bath, can I afford to travel to UTech or UE or wherever every day? Will the courses, will online still be available if COVID continues? If it's a situation where online is not available and now I'm required to go to school, how am I going to get there? Can I afford transportation or do I need to look at boarding? What is it that is there for me? Do I have a laptop? Is this one working? If this one is not working, what else am I going to do? Because I need a functional computer in order to get my work done. So there are several things that you need to take into account when you're doing your action plan. In terms of surviving in a fast economy, you will always have some amount of control over your own career. Because yes, you can go to university, or yes, know that you have the qualifications, you can apply for a job. So you still have some amount of control over your career in terms of what is it that you choose. Point number 2 says you must accept risks and plan for the future to advance your career. So you can't sit down and wait and everything to come drop in your hand, drop in your lap like that easy. It don't work like that in the real world. You have to be a go-getter. Fine, you've gone to something there, you get a college degree. This college degree does not guarantee employment. So again, what are your options? I know when I asked myself the question, I think it was when I was in 3rd year at VTDI, when I was wondering, first year you're good because now you're getting the program. You don't really have anything stressing you too tough. You just focus on getting the work done, passing different assignments, whatever. But you see, when I got to 3rd year now, and I realized I have 1 more year leave, my question was, geez, your piece, the 4 year I'm almost done. Where am I going to work? What can I do? What are the options that are going to be available for me? You can't go back a country, go sit down and look. No, sir. And that is when I started to worry, because a college degree doesn't guarantee employment. So it go, and right then and there now, your attitude, your aptitude, your willingness to push forward and fight, and your dedication is what to some extent set you apart from the others. And look, there's a chance occurrence that you may get into the field that you want, but it not always happen. And it says surviving in a fast economy, a commitment to lifelong learning will help you, will keep you employable. So you have to keep learning. You have to keep abreast of what is happening around you. If you are fortunate where you get a job, or you are in the career field that you want to be in, you have to make sure that you keep abreast of what is happening around you. Try to learn something new so you can upgrade yourself. If the organization has any training program or training opportunities or any developmental seminars for their staff members, you can jump on one, you jump on it, because you have to be committed to lifelong learning. Way back in the day when it was typewriter, and a lot of persons decided that they never wanted to use a computer, they eventually lost their jobs because computers replaced typewriters. And I'm pretty sure that you young people, a lot of you don't know what I'm talking about. Fact is, you have to keep abreast of what is happening if you are to remain employed or be employable. So career planning basics, 1, you have to take charge in terms of knowing yourself. What are your career desires? What is the marketplace like? You need to avoid job desperation and reactive behavior. You have to prepare yourself for when the opportunities come, you can jump on it. You can't wait until the opportunities come for you to go and get equipped with the requisite knowledge and skill sets in order to get the job, because that opportunity is going to pass you by. So if you want something, go out and get prepared for it. So when the opportunity does present itself, you're able to grab it and hold on to it. So avoid a reactive behavior. Having a right career can be a source of great pride. It gives you positive self-image and a sense of accomplishment. It helps you to determine where you live and who your friends are. And it largely determines your standard of living. And I can tell you that all of these things on this slide is true. Having the right career helps to determine all of these things. Summarizing, this is the final slide, I think, before we wrap up. Career planning is an ongoing process that requires one to make adjustments and to participate in lifelong learning. It also requires periodic self-assessment every 3 to 5 years, depending on the need for change, whether it is career change, whether or not it's a promotion, whether or not it's a situation where you want to do further studies. Whatever the case may be, periodic self-assessment is important. The final career choice or decision is yours and yours only. But everything in life, the process itself starts and ends with you. So Mr. Phillips and I are here, and I'm sure that he would have had organized other sessions for you. We can give you the information. The question is, what do you do with it? And based on that, do you have any questions for me? Any questions before I go?
Not really a question, but just on behalf of those of us who are in this meet, we really do want to thank you for dedicating the time this afternoon, especially since it's a Sunday, which most people are actually enjoying themselves or sleeping. We do appreciate you lending us some of your time to actually impart on us some of your knowledge. And we do hope that what was said is actually beneficial to us, because I know that there are parts of it which I can now find applicable in my life as I try to find what career path I want to pursue. So thank you, and thank you once again for everything.
Thank you, Mr. Sherman. It was my pleasure being here. And yes, I would love to have been running around with my children. So I'm going to do that right now. All right, bye.
All right, anyone have any question for the presenter before we do our next activity? If not, I hope everyone would have received this document upon registering for the seminar. If you did not receive that document, could you indicate with a raise of hand, please? The Johns Hollands self-directed search. All right, so we see one, and I'm going to post a link in the chat, and then you can get it from there. You go on that system and then you download it. So the link is in the chat. So I hope the others would have already received it and completed that code. Is that right? Ms. Martin, your hand is up. Is a question, or are you saying that you don't receive the document? All right, so what we are going to do now is to go through what this code mean in terms of us discovering our career choice. So this is specifically for those persons that may not be sure of what their career option is. So John's Hollands self-directed search is not to be seen as a test, but instead is to help you to choose a career based on your personality. And one of the things that the presenter would have spoken about is our personality and how it matches with our career, because whatever your skills or your interests, your personality type is, it must be in line with that job that you'd want to do, because that is the only way that you'll find job of a passion towards what you're doing, because it is not just doing it for earning, it's not just doing it for the money, but it's also doing it because you love it, you have a passion for that career, you enjoy doing that because that will be your lifelong career. So it is important that we have that interest and that it matches our personality, and that we also have the different skill sets that will be required to be successful in that career. So I'm going to go through the different codes that are there. So what you are required to do was to, under each section, for example, realistic, you have to put a tick beside each item that interests you. After doing that, you add up the total in each section, write down the top three. So example, social, artistic, enterprising, or realistic, social, artistic. So you put those three. After you have done that, then you are going to go under the section that said some career possibilities. So for example, your code is realistic, investigative, enterprising. You are going to go into it, go and look for RIE. So in this section, you'll notice it said RIE is automotive engineer, automobile mechanic. So those are two jobs that is pertaining to that personality code. What I wanted to know though is that these careers that are listed here, these are just some possibilities. So it's not all career choice that are being listed. So you look and you see which career relating to what is there would match with your career choice. Same thing you do for investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, conventional. So those are the personality code. After that, you look at the top three, and based on your top three now, then you can narrow down your option as to which one will be your first choice, second choice, what courses, what subjects you'll be required to do it, what degree that you will need that in order to go into that area. Say, for example, you're a conventional social enterprising person. You know that that will be in the line of accounting. So you know that you'll have to do a bachelor's of science in accounting. So you look at what universities or college where they want to study locally or overseas would have offered a bachelor's in accounting, and then that college you know will be the choice. In choosing college, you also look at the different courses, the programs that are available, what are the requirements to enter into that college. So all of these are questions that you must answer in choosing your career choice and what you are going to study. What is important is that you can find somebody that may have done that course or that program, and you can ask them about it, what their experience was like, what are some of the courses that they may have done, so that you can get some information about what you need to expect as you yourself go into this career field. All right, some general information about each of these. So realistic persons are those who like to work with animals, tools, or machines. They generally avoid social activities like teaching, healing, and informing others. They have good skills in working with tools, mechanical or electric drawings, machines or plants and animals. They value practical things you can see, touch, and use, like plants and animals, tools, equipment, or machines, and sees themselves as practical, mechanical, and realistic. So you know that these are the persons that may go into the area of engineering. They like to work with tools, they like to work with machines. So they are not the one that will give information. It's more outdoor work that they will do more than working in the office. Investigative persons like to study and solve math or science problems. Generally avoids leading, selling, or persuading people. They are good at understanding and solving science and math problem, value sense, and see themselves as precise, scientific, and intellectual. So these persons like to do anything that have to do math or science. That is just the area. Artistic persons like to do creative activities like art, drama, crafts, dance, music, or creative writing. They generally avoid highly ordered or repetitive activities. They have good artistic abilities in creative writing, drama, crafts, music, or art. They see themselves as expressive, original, and independent. So these are the persons that may go into the music industry. They may go be artists, or they may write books, drama. They engage in those kind of activities. While social persons like to do things to help people. So we normally call these the helping profession: teaching, nursing, giving first aid, providing information. Generally avoids using machines, tools, or animals to achieve a goal. So what you realize is the realistic and the social, they are quite the opposite. So the social persons are also good at teaching, counseling, nursing, or information giving, values helping people and solving problems, see themselves as friendly, helpful, and trustworthy. While the enterprising persons like to lead and persuade people. So these are persons that may want to go into business, politics, those areas, and sell things and ideas. Generally avoids activities that require careful observation and scientific analytical thinking. Is good at leading people and selling things or ideas. They have success in politics, leadership, or business. They see themselves as energetic, ambitious, and sociable. While the conventional person likes to work with numbers, records, or machines in a set, orderly way, generally avoids ambiguous and structured activities. So, you know, these will be like the business persons again, and the accounting persons who love the maths. So you realize that the conventional and the investigative, they work hand in hand. So they are good at written records and numbers in a systematic, orderly way, value success in business, and sees themselves as orderly and good at following a set plan. So those are the different personality codes and what we must know about them in terms of choosing our career. So after you have done your career profile and you would have seen which career is best for you, that is based on your personality, but not just your personality, but you also have to look at your skills. What skills would I need to become an accountant? What skills may I need to become a teacher? So while the education is good, if you do not have the skill set, you will not be successful in it. So the skill set is important. The personality type is also important, because you may want to do customer service or to go into teaching. You know that you have to interact with others. You would have to give information. So one thing that is more important is socializing, persuading. So you know that you have to have that extrovert personality. You cannot be an introvert and be successful in these areas. So your personality is also important. So there are different factors that may affect one's career choice. Any questions? Do we have any questions? All right, if there is no question, then I think that is what we would have wanted to cover for today. Has anyone got the chance to have finished the career profile before coming to the seminar? Just indicate with a raise of hand if you would have finished the career seminar, finished the career profile, sorry.